All right, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming by. We're going to be doing some fun exercises here, oil painting. We'll start out doing some of these swatches here, practicing our brush stroke control, getting some squares in, mixing some colors here and there a little bit. Once we get done with this, we're going to actually work on really mixing colors and having some really good fun. We have everything here. We're going to cover all the color mixing that you'll need right here on this side of the wax paper or palette paper that we have. So we'll do these two panels like this, and we'll work together for the next half an hour, 40 minutes, practicing our brush strokes, our brush control, choices of colors, color mixing, color combinations. What colors do you like? What colors here excite you? Maybe there's some color combinations that I didn't do that you might like, and you'll probably put those on and do your own boards with some of your own favorite colors. You might have some favorites that you like, color combinations. So let's get started, have a good time, and relax and enjoy the beautiful art of oil painting. So we'll get started in just a second. All right, so we're going to keep moving along here. We just saw the finished few pages, canvases we just created, doing some exercises, and it's always fun to just take a break once in a while and do some swatches and maybe work on some colors, mixing, things like this. Tends to be good for our experiences as an artist. So I have my brushes here, and these all my brushes I have in the description box below. These are the Princeton Aspen series brushes. So I have like I think it's a set that it comes in, and it's probably like 8 or 10 brushes. I think you can buy these individually too if you like to, but there's some flat brushes, filbert brushes, some round brushes. So that's basically three styles of brushes that come in the set. Classic oil painting brushes, of course. And maybe we'll start out. Again, I use the Artisan water mixable oil paints. Artisan it's Winsor & Newton, and Artisan is the line of paints, and basically it's water mixable, so there's no solvents. You don't have to worry about any turpentine or cleaning with paint thinners or anything like that. It cleans up with soap and water. If it gets on your clothes or anything like that, or your furniture, you can wash it with soap and water. It's not going to cause a problem, and it's really safe too. No fumes or anything like that, breathing any kind of toxic fumes. So that's why I like this paint. Maybe if I was outdoors or something, maybe I would use maybe regular oil paints, but these are perfect for indoors. And what I'll do is maybe we'll mix up a couple. So here I have a little bit of a change in my setup. You can set up your colors. I always have warm and cool kind of separated. So like my warmer colors are over here and my cooler colors are over here. So you could set up your palette like this. I know all of you might have different palettes. You might use the boards, or this is the wax paper, of course. So everyone has their own kind of thing with your palettes and how you like to work. Most times I do use the color wheel, so I usually set up my palette like the color wheel. This way I always kind of know I'm just like mixing, yellow and blue. I'm getting my green, I'm getting purple from blue and red, orange from yellow and red. So you can work around the color wheel, but once you get familiar with your color mixing, you can change your palette and set it up any way you really like to. I think the warm and cool though does make a lot of sense, and I probably use a lot more of the cooler colors in my paintings most often. I do mix warm and cool all the time. I try to, but we could just start out, mix some white and blue, maybe a touch of green. Maybe like a sky color. might just start up here and make a couple swatches. And this can be fun to get used to the shapes. So we could do a square there. It's a nice kind of a sky blue, powder blue. And then what else? We could take a cerulean blue. That's like a French ultramarine blue. This is cerulean blue. And mixing a little bit of the green into that French ultramarine blue gives us the same thing as a cerulean blue. And you can kind of see it's pretty close to the same color. So it's fun to just work with colors actually, and you know, I can rinse off my brush now, and then I always keep paper towels in hand, and this way I just have my paper towel in hand, and I can, once I rinse off my brush, I can dry the brush off on the paper towel, take out the water so that I just have a damp brush left. Damp brush is fine. And then we can pick up something like yellow ochre. Maybe I'll pick up a little bit of white, mix that in with the yellow ochre. And try something like that. Kind of a nice gold color. Looks really nice next to the blue. You can blend a little bit. Cool thing to do when you blend is you can take your brush, rinse off your brush now, dry off the water, and you can come in here and maybe add a little bit of that gold to the blue, and then maybe we can just kind of blend these two together a little bit and see what that looks like if you blend the two, blue and gold, together. Pick up a little bit of the blue. That's kind of interesting. You can literally do this with all kinds of color combination mixes. I think I'm going to go with brown next, and maybe a little bit of red. I'll use both my reds, cadmium red and alizarin crimson, with a little bit of the brown, then maybe a little bit of the white. That's kind of a cool, interesting color. And we'll just experiment with our colors, see what kind of colors we have here. You can go thinner, thicker with your paint if you want to. And we always know our general rule is when you're painting in oils, you're usually starting out pretty much like thinner paint. Especially if you prime your canvas, you go with a thin coat of your primer color. You might be using like a yellow ochre to prime your canvas. I'm using a hardboard here. You could prime it with yellow ochre. Some people like to use, I use it too as well, French ultramarine blue and I think yellow ochre. I think yellow ochre and French ultramarine blue makes kind of like a nice like medium brown color, like a medium tone. Maybe we'll mix a little bit up next with that and see how that looks. And it also creates a nice warm and cool feel. So we'll take some blue. That's French ultramarine blue. And some yellow ochre. And I think the ratio is quite a bit more yellow ochre. for that color. I'm trying to think if that is the color. That's more of a green. I'm trying to think of what color that was. Maybe it was brown. Probably was brown, actually. I'll rinse off my brush and try again. That's a nice green, though. I think it was French ultramarine blue and probably burnt umber, I'm thinking. Nope, too dark. So that's too dark. But that makes a really nice dark. That's almost like a black, basically. So you could make a black in your paintings with the burnt umber and French ultramarine blue, because those are the two darkest colors, I think, here on the palette that we have. This is really dark also, too, the phthalo green. Probably is the yellow ochre, with just a tiny bit of, I don't know about that though, that's more of a green. We got a green here. I'll have to go back into my notes and see some different things we've done with doing priming colors and things. But this is really a nice combination here. This is like a nice for trees and landscapes. And we'll take a little more brown. Let's make a really interesting, we'll make that black. Maybe we'll take the French ultramarine blue and burnt umber. We'll mix that up over here. And maybe we'll do a little experiment. We'll do a swatch that's got black here on both sides. Okay, so we have some black on both sides, super dark, and then we can rinse off our brush, and then we could put something in the middle, maybe like a really cool, interesting color combination. We could take, let's take some lemon yellow. Maybe some, yeah, let's do some lemon yellow here and see what we can do with this. Put that right in between, and that does look really exciting. Looks like a car maybe with a stripe on there or something, like a car. You know, interesting things you can that I think of are uniforms for like sports teams. Like, just trying to think of some really cool color combinations. This is really nice. Of French ultramarine blue. French ultramarine blue. Maybe we'll do a square. And a color in the middle. And this gives you good like practice with your brushwork, so you get comfortable with your brush, creating squares. We'll do some spheres next, some circles. Let's see what we have here. Okay. And a good, nice, beautiful red orange, like an orangey red. I'll try to mix this up a little bit first. Try to see if I can get that without mixing too much of the blue in there. Very cool. Very interesting. Complementary colors. Let's try some of that phthalo green. And we're kind of noticing here, this is, some of these colors are much more vibrant than these, right? Like you can see these are really, they pop the colors, they're really like exciting. And some of these colors we did gray down with a little bit of white. We'll try that too. We'll take some of this green, the phthalo green, and we'll put some white into it and see what happens. I'm sure it's going to mellow it out a little bit. It'll go lighter too as well. All right, we'll try that. And then green and maybe some red. That's a famous complementary color scheme. Maybe we'll work ourselves over to a filbert brush here. Might be a little bit easier to make circles with a filbert brush like this. It's kind of got that rounded taper to it. Alright, next I think we'll go with some alizarin crimson. And we'll go with a round. I'll just try to spin my brush around like this. That takes a little getting used to, spinning the brush around. Okay. And then maybe we'll take some cerulean blue and mix in some, I think we'll just leave it like that, see how that looks. Those two colors are close in value. Like if I squint my eyes and I look at them, the blue's a little bit lighter than the red. Whereas something like this, the blue is way darker than the yellow. So you can see much more contrast here. Not too much contrast here between the two colors. The black and yellow, of course, the black is much more darker than the yellow, so that really is quite a bit of a contrast. This is not so much of a contrast. This is also, the green's darker, of course. If I squint my eyes and look at the green and the orange, or the red there, I could see that the red is a decent amount lighter, but not tremendously lighter. So that's kind of like an interesting, putting some excitement into a painting. This kind of like these two colors next to each other would make a lot more of a pop in a painting, and an exciting bit of contrast play between light and dark colors. And then this is more subdued. This is a good, really high contrast color combination. So that's just interesting things to think about when we're painting. We could have some fun with these ideas. And let's take a quick break. I think I'm going to take a break and empty my water from my water container, and we'll be right back, and we'll just work on a few more of these, and then maybe we'll also do one more board. Maybe the next board we'll do some like a little more color mixing. But let's keep working on some more of these swatches. We'll do some more circles here, spheres, circles, and we'll just keep working, just to get our brush techniques a little bit stronger. Alright, so we're going to just have fun with our brushes here and some really cool swatches. I'm going to bump up to a larger filbert brush, so that's quite a bit larger. This is a number 6 and this was a number 2. And let's take some of this black we have. And there's some water in there too. I have a damp brush here. And there's no worries. Let's work with some wetter washes right now, see what happens. We'll do another circle here, see if I can get a larger circle going. Okay, then I'll rinse off my brush and dry off my brush on a paper towel. Maybe we'll put something in the center there. Let's see. Black, white, gold. I'm trying to think of something that would look good. Let's try this. This should look good. Okay. And we'll do one more circle. Let's try another circle here. Let's see, that's a tire, it pretty much looks like a tire kind of, the black. Let's see here. Let's go with a cerulean. What do I not use so much of? Let's go with some more red. Maybe I'll go with a square here. And these filbert brushes, it's a little harder to get a square edge. Try to blend in a little bit of orange. And I'll leave a little bit of that white canvas there. mix up some kind of like a gray mixture. And I think I'll try a rectangle here. And we're just having a good time again, practicing our brush. I'm kind of getting, you know, the paint on here. You can smooth out, once you get the paint on, you can smooth out the swatch to get the paint brushstroke smoother if you want, like going in one direction. Okay. You can always keep track of your colors too, like colors that you mix. If you find that you have a real nice like gray that you mix up, or like a really interesting color combination, that's always good to keep track of those things if you want to. And then you might say to yourself, wow, that would look really good. That could be like you know, the color of a house, maybe the siding of a house, or maybe some rocks, or you know, depending on what you're going to paint, your subject matter, you can kind of see some different things, mountain colors. This is a really nice gray though. This looks really good. All right, so let's take another quick break, and I'll change out the board and change out the water. And maybe we'll use a different couple more different brushes. I'll take this off now. Okay, I have to go get another board, and we'll start using a new board. Okay, I'm going to change out this board here. Put some tape on here. Okay, I'll get a new paper towel. Change out the water. So I'm just doing changing up a few things here, putting some fresh water, the water bucket, the water container. Maybe I'll switch over to a larger flat brush. So this is a larger flat brush. This is a number 10. Number 10, so that's pretty good size. And let's see here. Let's maybe we'll just paint some Let's try this. Let's try some yellow ochre. Orange, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white. Mix up some of this. I'm just going to see if I can get a good line going here. Painting an elongated rectangle. Pick up some more paint. You can kind of work in some lines to even up your swatch if you're going across in a line. I do a couple of brush strokes, and then I step back and just look at it a little bit, see if I'm on track. This looks pretty good. I'm just adding another like 1/16 of an inch to this line here, this swatch, and that looks pretty good. Pick up a little more paint. Alright, so that can be fun to do. Let me see what else we can do here. Maybe we'll blend up into this, maybe some red. So I'll use alizarin crimson and cadmium red. Maybe I'll add a little bit of water to it. See, let's try a little bit of water. Kind of blend these two together. First, let's get this on, going across. Then I'll blend it across like this. Come back the other way. And even up a little higher into the gold. All right, so this is fun to blend colors. Let's try the green next, maybe some phthalo green with a little bit of the red to gray it down just a little bit. And I'm going to add a little bit of water to it. You can thin down your paint with water. I would think, I don't really thin it down that often, but you can. But I guess we just have to be careful how much water we put in it, because it does tend to run a little bit. So, but that's the thing where you can experiment, try. I know some people like to add a lot of water to their water mixable oils, almost like watercolor, like they almost use watercolor techniques with their oil paints. And that's totally, fine to do. I've seen it done. Okay, now green, red. Let's go with a blue. Let's take this blue and mix it in with that black a little bit there. Maybe a little bit of white. More blue. More brown. I want to get kind of like a grayish blue. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's try that. Add a little bit of water. Pick up more paint. How is it going so far? I'm wondering how you're doing out there. Mixing up these colors, having a good time. A little bit less stressed than trying to paint a painting, I think. That's what's fun about when we're practicing these swatches and things. There's like not a lot of pressure about it, you know. It's kind of just like, oh, we're just having some fun, mixing some colors, practicing some, you know, it's all, this is very productive to do these type of exercises and work on doing swatches and things like, because you're building your skills with your brushwork, color mixing, getting used to the brush, how it reacts with paint, getting on brush strokes with accuracy, blending the colors. So it's a good thing to do these. So that looks really good. That's kind of like a grayish blue. That looks really interesting to me. I like that a lot. So we're kind of working through our colors here. I think I'll go with a blue now, a cerulean blue. I'll just mix that right into some of that green. That's like a turquoisey green, or turquoisey blue, I should say. And I'm pushing the brush hairs hard down into the canvas here. I think I do that once I start warming up with my swatches like this. I start to just get a little more, you know, less tentative, and I just start like pushing down on the brush and really, you know, working the paint into the canvas. And so it's just a matter of having fun, getting started here on this, and then next thing you know, we're just working at a good pace. And I think we'll go back to some of the gold colors next. Let's do that. Let's try this, which was the color we started with. Maybe we can add a little bit of change to that, maybe a little bit of alizarin crimson. Make it a little bit more of, yeah, that looks pretty interesting. Let's try that. It's like a peach color. That looks kind of interesting. Flesh tone. Okay, now here, we can just blend this down here like this. That's fine. I'll rinse off the brush one more time, dry off the, I'll keep a damp brush now, and I'll just see if I can blend this in a little bit. That looks good. And I'll go with the alizarin crimson, cadmium red, and we'll see if we can get some water in there. I'll try this one with a little more water. I'll mix that red with some brown, maybe some blue. Come up with like a interesting color, and I'll add a little bit of water to that. A little bit of phthalo green. Yeah, it's almost like a black. We used a lot of dark paint there. We used the French ultramarine blue, which is very dark, and then burnt umber, and then we added some of that phthalo green. So those are like our three darkest colors. So you can see how we got a really nice dark here. And it's kind of, to me right now, it's looking like it's pretty much like a black with a little bit of green in it. So it almost looks like an extremely dark green, like like pine needles, or a pine tree, how it's got that really those dark greens, almost like black. Yeah, it's kind of what this is looking like here. Really good looking color. And what else can we do? We could take our white. We've got plenty. So I'm just using the colors here, having some fun with the colors. Take some of that green, mix it in with some white. And then we have a really nice gray. Kind of like a warm gray, actually. That looks like it's like a cool gray, actually. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's got the green, more green than, I think what we'll try to do is we'll try to warm this up and make it a warmer gray if we can. We can actually do that. It won't be a problem. I'll blend this in a little bit too up here. And then sometimes when we're looking at these, you can kind of see maybe some of these mixes as we blend them together, they maybe might resemble like sky washes. Like nighttime. This might be like a nighttime kind of sky. These might be some like sunrise colors, sunset colors, with the blending of the warm colors and the cool colors. And then what I'll try to do is I'll have to put a little more. I'll take a little bit of yellow ochre and put that into this and see what happens if I can warm up this grayish color. That really looks good. I really enjoy this gray color a lot. And I think if I put some of that yellow ochre in there, and then more blue. So that's like, okay, so we have some kind of cool though, so I'm thinking we need probably some brown. Like we could put some brown in this, I think. Maybe I have to mix it up here. And sometimes I'm just going to have to mix. I forgot to add the white in there. So once you add the white, then you get to that lightening up, which is the graying it up. And that's good. It's a warm gray. And that's the cool gray next to it. And these look like colors, like a lot. There's the newer cars these days are starting to come out with some really beautiful gray colors. Have you seen those on the road? Some of them look really beautiful, and they're like some are warm grays, some are cool. But I really like that color for cars. It looks good. It's like a kind of a metallic-y kind of color. So that's interesting. It's like looks good with vehicles, cars or trucks, vans, minivans, sports utilities. But that's some fun, mixing some colors. This looks almost like a fabric too, like this could be some clothing. So this all has good application, practicing swatches and mixing colors. I hope you had fun. I hope we enjoyed just having a little bit of fun time with our paints, our colors, our brushes, our canvas. If you like this type of content where we're doing some exercises, I would do more. If you leave me a comment in the comment section or give me a thumbs up, let me know. This way, I usually try to paint like things that everyone wants to see, and I can also tell by the popularity of a video what maybe content everyone likes to see, but I don't want to guess on it. Or it could just be that, I don't want to guess on what you guys like out there, you guys and gals like out there. So please give me a thumbs up if you like this type of content once in a while. And we'll do more like this. And we're obviously going to be doing a lot of fun paintings. We're going to keep sticking with all the content we always like to paint. Landscapes with, houses and buildings, city scenes, flowers, beach scenes, boats. So, we kind of cover, all the classic oil painting style stuff that we enjoy so much. So until next time, thanks so much for coming by. Great to paint with you and work with you on these swatches and color mixing. And we're going to see you on the next video.